It's not the greatest thing in the world for a president of the United States to be investigated by a special counsel, and now we have a good one in Robert Mueller, the former FBI director and veteran prosecutor. This, of course, was a decision of the Deputy Attorney General to decide that an independent investigation was needed in the wake of the president firing Jim Comey at the FBI, the latest stories from the New York Times and the Washington Post, all these allegations that have been swirling really since the election and the Russian interference in the election. And Donald Trump clearly is not happy about this, although the White House initially put out a bland statement about it. Then came the tweet, greatest witch hunt in history of any politician. And one can understand how President Trump believes that none of this is warranted. But I think, at least in the short term, this is actually a good thing for the White House, and here is why. Because the climate here in Washington has gotten so toxic, and the media coverage, legitimate story, big story, no question about it, no quarrels there, but, you know, with all kinds of talk in the media by some commentators going too far, talking about impeachment, talking about invoking the 25th Amendment, when at this point we still don't know whether there's anything at the center of all this or anything beyond some possible improper activities, let's say, by Michael Flynn, the fired national security advisor. This provides a bit of a safety valve, because now even Democrats acknowledging Mueller a good pick, there's going to be an independent investigation. And so it takes that out of the equation. And so when reporters day after day are hammering the White House over all the related strands of this investigation, and obviously the White House should respond to factual questions when it can, but now spokesmen, aides, surrogates on television will have the opportunity to say, hey, this is under investigation by a widely respected former director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and therefore we can't comment, or we will defer comment or refer questions to his office. That buys the White House and the president some breathing room to try to focus on these other issues. You remember health care, tax reform, things that people actually care about and affect their lives? I don't know how much people care about this investigation. Certainly Democrats think there's something there. Certainly many Republicans rallying behind the president. But to the extent that the spotlight from the White House point of view can return to actual issues, that is a good thing. Now, the downside is, in the long term, this could boomerang on the White House, because Mueller is so independent. He's not some young hotshot prosecutor who's got to make a name for himself by bringing a bunch of charges. But if there are reasons to bring any indictments or to issue a scathing report, I think Mueller's independence will create great credibility for whatever action he takes. So White House aides may need to lawyer up. Down the road, there could be potentially some charges here. Again, we don't know. There is not a lot of evidence in this murky case so far. But at the same time, if Mueller is to conclude that ultimately nothing criminal occurred here, that all this amounted to a lot of smoke, or just involved peripheral characters, I think he has the credibility to make that stick in a way that probably never could have been the case if it was just a regular old FBI investigation subject to Trump's Justice Department. We needed some independence here. It probably helps the White House in the long run. It may frustrate the press, I should have said, in the short run. In the long run, nobody knows, because investigations do have a way of expanding, following different paths that you might not have expected at the outset. But in the immediate short term, I should say, this is probably buys the president some time, but doesn't mean the media coverage is going to turn down the temperature anytime soon.